Thank you. Yes, you're a man of many talents.
You studied under Professor Ravenwood at the University of Chicago.
Yes, I did.
You have no idea of his present whereabouts?
Just rumors, really. Somewhere in Asia, I think. I haven't really spoken to him for 10 years. We were friends, but, had a bit of a falling out, I'm afraid.
Dr. Jones, now, you must understand that this is all strictly confidential, eh?
I understand.
Yesterday afternoon, our European sections intercepted a German communique that was sent from Cairo to Berlin. Now,
You see, over the last 2 years, the Nazis have had teams of archaeologists running around the world looking for all kinds of religious artifacts. Hitler's a nut on the subject. He's crazy. He's obsessed with the occult. And right now, apparently, there's some kind of German archaeological dig going on in the desert outside of Cairo.
Now, we've got some information here, but we can't make anything out of it, and maybe you can. Tanis development proceeding. Acquire headpiece, staff of Ra, Abner Ravenwood, U.S.
Nazis have discovered Tanis.
Just what does that mean to you, Tanis?
Well, the city of Tanis is one of the possible resting places of the Lost Ark.
The Lost Ark?
Staff of Ra.
Well, the staff is just a stick. I don't know, about this big. Nobody really knows for sure how high. And it's capped with an elaborate headpiece in the shape of the sun, with a crystal in the center. And what you did was you take the staff to a special room in Tanis, a map room with a miniature of the city all laid out on the floor. And if you put the staff in a certain place at a certain time of day, the sun shone through here and made a beam that came down on the floor here and gave you the exact location of the Well of the Souls.
Where the Ark of the Covenant was kept, right?
Which is exactly what the Nazis are looking for.
Now, what does this ark look like?
There's a picture of it right here. That's it.
God.
Yes, that's just what the Hebrews thought.
Now what's that supposed to be coming out of there?
Lightning. Fire. Power of God or something.
Coming out of there?
Lightning. Fire. Power of God or something.
Beginning to understand Hitler's interest in this.
Oh, yes. The Bible speaks of the Ark leveling mountains and laying waste to entire regions. An army which carries the Ark before it is invincible.
They want to get them out of the way. The firefighters don't want to have to worry about the residents. They want to just concentrate on knocking down the fire and saving the homes. But we did have an assistance call that went out on Santa Cruz, I believe, an elderly person that needed help. It was 8972, I believe, Santa Cruz. Went out on Santa Cruz, I believe, an elderly person that needed help. It was 8972, I believe, Santa Cruz.
And look at the thing that...
breaking news right now, a raging fire at this business in Monrovia. Let's get more from Chris 7HD. Chris.
Mark, a huge pallet fire on the corner of Mountain Avenue and Huntington Drive. You can see that that fire has now extended to the commercial structure, hundreds of feet into the air. Over 100 fires from LA County Fire fighting this fire. They were at all costs trying to protect that warehouse near the top of your screen. And what's happened in the last few minutes is that the flames have crept through the firewall. Embers have flown onto the roof of the building, and now that building is very vulnerable. There were firefighters on the roof where you're looking at right there just a few minutes ago, and also a few minutes ago, we have some video to show you as they had to rush into action and try and evacuate one of their fire trucks. As the fire closed in on the fire engine, there was debris, flaming debris, actually blowing onto the fire truck, almost catching that fire truck on fire. Firefighters immediately able to back the fire truck into reverse and take that fire truck out of harm's way. Still though, that alley is loaded with more product that is going up in flames right now. As you can see, this is a body of flames and thick black smoke pluming thousands of feet into the air.
Here and see what we're dealing with now as I go in. I mean, here you can see, look at the intense flames spitting out of that shed. Whoa, and an explosion right there. Whatever was right there just exploded live on camera. You know, you see this truck right here that probably has fuel in it as well. So whatever is in here is.
Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah, that was one transformer there, but it's not the one that we're about to tell you about. At 5:52, there was a transformer that exploded, and as a result, 51 people.
Burn at this pallet yard in Compton. I'm Brandy Hitt along with Leslie Sykes. We want to get straight to Scott Reif once again in Air 7 HD. Following this now for 2 hours, Scott.
Yeah, it's a massive blaze, and they're nowhere close to being able to put this fire out. It spread from the pallet yard to this bus yard. They've lost at least a dozen, possibly more buses, and you can see how intensely the fire is burning. As we pan to the right, that entire row of buses right there, they've just backed off from. They figure they can't put that out. They can't stop it, and they're concerned about the safety of the firefighters because we've had a lot of explosions and power lines arcing, transformers blowing up. Also, if we open up...
Breaking news of the brush fire and working to put out these flames. We told you about this just a few minutes ago. It's called the Monterey Fire. It is in Ernest E. Debs Regional Park.
This one to burn more uphill. You can see all the crews there right now trying to put this out.
You are off of Donlin Road. How far are you from Los Angeles?
We counted 83 homes that have been destroyed, and I'm afraid that number is going to be much closer to 100 because it's hard for us to get a perfect count. But almost every home there on Santa Cruz was destroyed with this fire, and they had...
We're all in agreement
that something very strange, very unique and new has happened. Right. And have you been to tour the areas? Have you looked around at some of the areas?
Only what I've seen on the internet from overhead.
Gotcha.
And I just drove down 101, so what I could see from the freeway.
So just conjecture, what do you think these firemen who are looking at these fires they've never seen before and talking among themselves, how do you think are they talking about it? What do you think because they've never seen anything like it either. And listening to that Berkeley engine number 6 that came up and their whole journey through it, they were totally astounded where they couldn't even set up a base station to start fighting from because everything was on fire. We have 100,000 square foot Kmart. They were totally astounded where they couldn't even set up a base station to start fighting from because everything was on fire. We have 100,000 square foot Kmart completely torched by 3 a.m. in the morning, where these fires leapt across 8 lanes of road and torched the Kmart on the other side of the road. What kind of fire does that?
A fully sprinklered building.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing is California has one of the highest sprinkler laws in the country.
Not natural phenomena, unnatural phenomena. Unnatural phenomena. Like I said, I've never seen anything like it.
Probably just a matter of time before we see this one going.
In with breaking news, Sky 9 live over breaking news in Rubidoux, Riverside County. A pallet fire there burning on the 2400 block of Rubidoux Boulevard. Take a look at this massive piece of land that firefighters really trying to get this fire under control right now. We know that fire has spread to several utility poles, trees, and at least one truck.
Several outbuildings as well. On the right-hand side is where the fire was the most intense. That was earlier. You see some of those power poles that are on fire. To the left is going to be a live picture. This is a very large pallet yard. MTZ Pallet Solutions, we believe, is the
Holy crap.
It validated several things that I'd heard from others, and it was pretty shocking because he knew too many things that people shouldn't know unless he saw what he claimed to have seen.
Now?
I just said that I cannot.
Okay, well, yeah.
Thing you could find on the internet, lots of people have written about this particular issue online.
Right.
And I'm like saying, how does this guy know this stuff? So we continue to exchange email from there on, in October of this, and said that he had been working and realized that he was probably onto something. So when we began talking, it turned into Skype calls pretty quickly, and I realized that this guy knows hundreds of things nobody else has spoken to. And some of the insiders that have spoken to others have told me a whole lot of things that they did not share with anybody else. So we're starting to deal with a very, very huge story.
And let me point to the president.
That's where this is getting out of control, those little demon embers.
And why you showing us that is it's the example that we've all been describing throughout the day, that the winds with those kind of embers just keep this thing moving.
This event was the worst case scenario. It's the event that we have feared for a long time. And over the course of the years, we have worked hard to develop a plan to evacuate people in this event. That said, you need to understand that factors can exist that make even the best plans not perfect or not the exact outcome that you want. And in this case, very, very rapidly being pushed by some very, very strong winds.
Miles, fucking 100 miles, infinity miles, because that would also be over 1 mile. So apparently wildfire embers can travel an unlimited distance, because that would definitely be over 1 mile. Wildfire embers from here in California could jump across the Pacific Ocean and land in fucking Japan. That would be over 1 mile. Everybody worldwide better beware, because the wildfire embers are fucking coming for you. They can
running down the street, alerting people to a house that was suddenly on fire, alerting fire crews to a house that was suddenly on fire up the street, but generally no. People have left here. It's too dangerous. This fire moves very quickly. That's why people are gone. This fire moves very quickly. That's why people are gone. This neighborhood was being inundated with embers falling from these fires overnight.
That's where this is getting out of control, those little demon embers.
This was all driven by these wind-driven embers falling down into this neighborhood.
Officials describing a scene of mass devastation. Thousands of structures are destroyed. Video shows an entire school on fire with half
as well.
Alex, yes, I can. We're on Marine View Drive with some kind of interesting information. So,
you call it Wendy's. And Moses saw him in a bush that was burning but was not on fire, was not being destroyed.
Flare up over here. I wonder, is this near the reservoir? Maybe Jade Hernandez's camera. I'm not sure. Is that Jade? Okay, Jade, are you with us? You got a flare up over there?
I am. We are in that same spot that we've been in. And I can tell you, you can see, Mark, what the big concern is. Some of these eucalyptus trees that are inside.
Corroborate that story. The Quran calls it the Valley of Tuwa. The Bible says it was a valley. He saw fire. He went to the fire. And a voice spoke to him out of the fire. He understood the voice. It spoke evidently in his language. It said, Moses, take off your shoes. The ground where you stand is holy. And every time somebody tried to raise you, white folk destroyed him. Now, he's the only game in town. But guess what? Mount Paran. Matthew says, as lightning shineth from the east even unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. He's a man from a man, yet God. Stop. What's wrong with you? You don't think a man can be God? Has anybody been able to solve this? Spoke to us in our grave of ignorance. And master the forces of nature. You can master creation. And now a problem has been created that only God could solve. So the book said he came without observation, like a thief in the night. What night? Was it last night? Was it the night before last? What night? To Elijah Muhammad, a dreadful looking plane in the sky. He told Elijah Muhammad that plane, look up in this dome. Look up in this dome. Look at the lights in the window. See, it's made like a wheel. Look at it good. If you look at it, it almost looks like it's turning. Not quite, unless you had something to drink. It had eyes all around it. Eyes mean window. And eyes mean people looking out. It run by the grace of God. It was a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Ezekiel saw this 595 years before Jesus was born in a vision. When Elijah Muhammad met Master Farad Muhammad in 1931, he showed him the wheel actually in the sky. It's there now. It's a half a mile by a half a mile. It's like a city. It has 1,500 little wheels on it that are destructive bombing planes. Oh, I want you to listen. But you see, this lion ain't roaring because he don't have no backup. You know, when that policeman calls for backup, he can get bold as hell because he got a radio that gives him backup. Well, I can get bold as never been because I have backup. I have God in person. Let me talk to you. I don't want you to get spaced out on me, because I'm not going to Spaceville with you. There. He says when that bomb hits the earth, it has a timing device, mechanism in it. The drill goes off and it does not explode. It just drills its way into the earth, and when it gets a mile down, it explodes ascending up a mountain a mile high, destroying everything in a 50 square mile radius. Those planes are deadly. They move at speeds that this world has never seen before. They have motion that this world has not seen. They take off, going straight up, and they can move right and left, forward and back, stop on a dime, move back, go forward.
And it looks like we have a lot of flight traffic right here, or whatever this thing is picking up. We're going back forward, boom, we have either three craft flying side by side, or three abreast. Looks like some kind of military formation. Will go up 15 minutes. And then you can just barely see one. Go up another 15 minutes. He's coming in much hotter now. Next 15 minutes. So within that 15-minute time stamp, we have the initial explosion with the aircraft right there. And now it looks like we have 4 craft out ahead of this in an arc. And when I align this footage with the footage, it looks like a rocket shoots up. This is the initial explosion, and then there's a big black square dot. I don't know what that is yet. And then you can see the shadow. Now I can't do this a minute at a time. I can only do 15 minutes at a time. And you can see what appeared to be a rocket lifting off, or some kind of projectile that flew up and comes down to Earth. You can see this really dark mass that's going off the direction of what we've seen fall out of the sky. So definitely completely different color. And definitely we have a problem.
Every day, several times a day. Who the hell are you looking at?
In addition to the van that's on fire, on top of that, is a tree that's burning as well. So, game plan, I think, is just try to put out the first thing you see, Jeff. And as the wind is blowing towards me, you know what I mean? So, you can hear the level of urgency from these guys, because they're trying to just hit everything that pops up in front of them. Okay, so we're going to back up just a little bit when we hear that popping noise.
To half mile away over to this hillside and immediately turn it into that lava effect that Steve referred to earlier. Zoom in on this hillside. You guys see where it looks like the lava that Steve Atkinson was referring to? Steve, look at that.
It is around that fire.
That's you guys in the studio.
And the winds blowing those embers. And by you showing us that, it's the example that we've all been describing throughout the day, that the winds with those kind of embers just keep this thing moving.
In the neighborhood there is...
Just keep this thing moving. in the neighborhood. In the neighborhood there is any.
Put some water on the stove, on the wood. Get some more water and put it on the wood.
Fire burns at thousands of degrees.
And then his God,
Nothing.
God of Elijah, God of Elijah, sent down fire from heaven. His pay grade is so far below. Satan. I just said he lies, but I'm not the one, measuring his lies. His own people are doing that. A man that lies several times a day, he has a certain disease. When stuff is coming out of your backside like a river, they say you got diarrhea. But lies are coming out of your mouth like fecal matter running out of your backside. When you sick, that man got liarrhea. Lying is the language of the devil. Lying is the language of the devil.
Said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. Her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice.
And it
the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice
to
President
stop
Harris.
him.
Thank you. Lindsay.
Operation at the Loxley Elementary School construction site in Baldwin County, Alabama. Around 8:30 a.m., agents arrived in unmarked vehicles and detained 11 individuals working illegally on site, most of whom were involved in masonry work.
And they see it, and those motorcycles, like a four-wheels motorcycle, the officers driving all the way there, and they catch like 8 guys.
Witnesses reported a coordinated effort, including aerial support and off-road units, as ICE moved in to apprehend the individuals, several of whom attempted to flee.
Official arrests in 7 California counties will stay in place for now. That was the ruling late Friday from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. This morning, several immigration advocate groups applauding the decision. ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo explains what this ruling means for ongoing immigration enforcement.
Not in vision, but in voice, with a message the church could no longer ignore. What if the Pope laid down his crown and gave it back to her, not out of defeat, but divine obedience? What if the heart of the church was never meant to be in Rome, but in the fire of mercy she carried? In a world addicted to power, what happens when heaven demands surrender? This isn't a prophecy, it's a reckoning. This isn't a story of collapse, it's resurrection. And what rose from the altar that day wasn't gold, wasn't stone, but light. Are you ready to hear the final message and follow where she leads? Rome, August 1st, 2025. As the first light of dawn slipped quietly through the aged stained glass windows of the Apostolic Palace, Pope Leo XIV stirred from a restless sleep. The old stone walls around him, ancient and silent, seemed to hum faintly with expectation. Something was different, something sacred. The 69-year-old pontiff, born Robert Francis Prevost in Chicago, had known many extraordinary moments in his decades of priesthood and missionary service. But this was unlike anything he had ever felt. He sat up slowly, the embroidered sheets falling away from his shoulders. The stillness of the early hour clung to the room like incense. His breathing was steady, but his heart thudded with an urgency he couldn't explain. He rubbed his eyes, not from sleepiness, but from an inward stirring, an invisible voice whispering that today would change the course of history. At 6:15 a.m., as he knelt alone in his private chapel for morning prayer, his hands clutching the rosary once owned by his maternal grandmother, something began to shift in the air. A softness enveloped him. It wasn't the cool air from the marble floor or the warmth of the rising sun. It was maternal, luminous, enveloping. Without knowing why, he found himself speaking words in Nahuatl, the sacred language of the Aztecs he had learned decades ago during his missionary years in Peru. Tlazocamati Tenantzin Guadalupe. Thank you, Mother Guadalupe. His lips trembled as the words left his mouth. They came not from memory, but from something deeper, his very soul. That's when it happened that a soft knock interrupted the sacred stillness. Monsignor Alessandro Girardini, his private secretary of 15 years, stood at the edge of the chapel door, his face pale, yet glowing with a strange reverence. His hands trembled. He was rarely like this. I believe it concerns you personally, and Our Lady of Guadalupe. Leo XIV slowly rose from prayer, knees aching from the prolonged